It is no secret that Leafs fans want the core four to split up, and the players are in opposite agreement with all of us, as they have reportedly been saying that they want the core four to stay together, and they're basically speaking out, highlighting that they think they can win with this team. So I'm going to break that down in this episode of Leafs Digest. But Darius, before we do, a quick reminder to hit the subscribe button if you're a part of that 78% who aren't subscribed. We produce daily Leafs content over here, and we're on the road to 9,000, so it'd mean the world if you can do that. But let's just get right into the video. I won't waste any more of your time. There's been a bit of a roller coaster a few days now, and we've made a few videos. Most fans are in agreement. The core four needs to be separated. Whether that is most likely going to be Mitch Marner is up in the air. It's probably going to be Mitch Marner, but they spoke out yesterday, and it seems like they want to keep the team going, and they want to keep the boys kind of rolling as is, which is a bit of a nightmare scenario for the Toronto Maple Leafs, but it'll ultimately be up to management on Friday to decide that. But this is what William Nylander had to say about that. He said, "We lost Game 7 in OT. I was out for games. Matthews was out for games. We battled to get back in the series, and I think that's huge to have in the group regardless of who is playing. I'm not happy with the result, but I think what we have in here is great." Now, there's a lot more comments to get into, but I'm just going to start with this one. What do you think about this? This isn't ideal. It makes sense. They're not going to say, "Oh, let's split us up," but you could say that changes need to happen.
Yeah, I kind of wish some of them came out and said we need some change or something, because it's very obvious at this point, and we don't know what management's thinking. Again, we're going to find that out this coming Friday, with their press conference, everyone there. But yeah, from the players at least, I'm not entirely surprised, because yes, they're all friends, they're all buddies, they've been playing together for years, right? And we've talked about since 2021 where they're like, hey, the core four era is finally over. Is it time for the Leafs to make a change? And 3 years later, they haven't. So maybe they're starting to feel a little comfortable in a way. But from everything I've heard and what some people and the language some reporters are using, it sounds like they might be leaning towards finally splitting it up. And like you said, Mitch Marner will be the odd man out. But I'm not surprised, like a guy like Nylander is saying, let's run it back one last time. But we've seen enough injuries and non-injuries, enough healthy playoff series where they didn't convert, to know that it has nothing to do with the fact that some of them were injured and hurt this season. It has everything to do with the fact that this does not work.
Yeah, like if you take it into perspective now, let's say Matthews was healthy the whole series and Nylander was healthy the whole series. They probably beat Boston, maybe. Like, they might beat Boston, but who knows how far they'd go after that. Probably wouldn't have beat the Florida Panthers, but that's all hindsight now. It doesn't really matter. The point is that they didn't beat Boston. They haven't beat won last year, one round, but since 2018, they've only won once, and that was with a healthy team. Now, you can make the argument that the Max Domies of the world, the Tyler Bertuzzis, the internal growth and development could change it. That doesn't make them Stanley Cup contenders. They don't have the defense, and they don't have the goaltending for it. Those are the two things that are needed. So William Nylander can say this all he wants, and that what we have here is great. I mean, yeah, it is great. I'm sure some teams would love to be able to make the playoffs every year. I guess that's the one thing to take out of this. But I think MLSC, I think Keith Pelly, all these guys at this point now are at the point where the amount of money that MLSC would make if the Toronto Maple Leafs made the Stanley Cup or would win more than one round surpasses the benefit and the niceness of winning a series and making the playoffs every single year. Something needs to change, or else the team is not going to make it anywhere. William Nylander, makes sense that he said this, I guess, but let's get into another quote here. And he spoke on Mitch Marner, an incredible human being, a friend, love the guy. Look, there's always someone taking heat here regardless of how it's going, but we love him. That's what Auston Matthews said as well. Like, it seems like these guys have gotten so close that, like, do they care about winning the Stanley Cup? Because if they do, I don't know if they want to just keep on bringing the same guys back. I understand that they're probably best friends now. They've been together since however long, 2018 when the Core 4 started. But, like, at some point, we have to change something up unless they magically think that they can win it with the exact same four and the exact same team as they have for the past 6+ years.
I'm sure, like, Nylander and Matthews and Marner and Tavares and all these guys, just based on the quotes, like, I don't know if they're just throwing it out there just to make, save face, but I'm sure a part of them feels like, yes, I do think we can get this done. We're very skilled, and they see each other every day, right? And they've made friendships, and they've been together for years and years and years. But honestly, this is the type of tone-deaf comments I'm talking about, where, like, guys, you got to look at things objectively. It's not working. You have never gotten the results that you've wanted from this project, whatever you want to call it, this trial that you've been putting on for 8 years, or a little bit less, I guess, since Tavares got here. But it's just not working. And when you see comments like that, instead of taking accountability, and you're like, yeah, well, maybe one more year, I'm pretty sure it could work. I love this player. Like, I don't think that's what fans want to hear. And again, I didn't think we were going to get anything we wanted to hear yesterday anyway, but just for them saying that, it's just, again, more tone deaf comments. And I just don't think through some of their comments, like Tavares too, they keep talking about that they're learning lessons. I'm not sure that they are, because they keep losing and they keep saying the same thing. So what exactly are we learning through these losses? I'm not sure what it is. So very interesting. And again, the structure simply, it looks like it simply just does not work, and they're going to have to move on here some way, somehow.
Yeah, and if they wanted to keep this core together, they could have won more than one series. I mean, if let's say this year they made it to the second round, maybe they lost in 6 or 7 in the second round, we'd probably be having a different conversation. Like, really, yes, even if they made the second round and won a few games, they should be debating a rebuild or whatever, or retool, I should say. But they didn't even get there. They took a step back from last year, which is a little bit surprising, considering last year seems like I don't know, an interesting thing now at this point. But challenges build adversity. Is what Mitch Marner had to say in the core four, and we've been through a lot, and it's only going to make us better. And the reason we keep bringing these up, Darius, is like the same words, but echoed differently by everybody. The core four, really. John Tavares, we saw his comments yesterday. Austin Matthews, William Nylander, Mitch Marner. They're all saying the same things. Mitch Marner's a bit different because he's kind of on the hot seat right now, the proverbial hot seat. But, like, you ask this question: how much more failure are you willing to tolerate until you need to see a blow up? What I see, they are great players. The mix doesn't work. Scoring has ultimately been this team's downfall. And especially late in the series. I mean, they're not built for the playoffs, clearly. Yeah, they can have regular season success. They don't have the defense. They don't have the goaltending. And quite frankly, even the core four players, aside from Matthews and Nylander, Tavares hasn't been great in the playoffs, and Mitch Marner has been a disaster in the playoffs, especially this past year. I don't know what more they want to see, or I'm talking about Keith Pelly, what more he needs to see. It's his first year in here, but I'm sure he's been watching from a distance. It's time to blow it up, and we've been making videos on it, but these comments scare me because maybe they could convince ownership, Keith Pelly, Brad Treliving, to say, hey, give us one more chance, and then if it doesn't work, blow it up. Give us a new chance with a new voice, with a new coach. That's kind of the nightmare scenario that's building here a little bit.
Yeah, we have a large sample size that it doesn't work, and I'm sure the players want to stay together, all that good stuff. And even if they fire the coach, like I just been saying, that tweet does a great job of explaining it. It is a bad mix. Bad mix. All of it does not work together. No two things work together in the Leafs organization right now to find success. So they have to shake it up. They do. Like, there's no way out of this where you can run it back with the same players. It doesn't make any more sense. It's the definition of insanity. It doesn't make sense anymore. They have to find a way to move on. And yes, you might lose a trade, whoever you end up trading, which I think we all know who it's going to be. And maybe he does not only deserve, but could help him a change of scenery, Mitch Marner. It could definitely help him. But you're definitely not going to win the trade per se, but I don't think you're going to lose it either. This is a very good player. They have very, very good pieces on this team, but it does not mix well together. So they're going to have to shed some of it to bring in more wealth in other areas. Like, listen, they need a goalie too. This has been lost in this whole thing with the core four. They don't have a goalie that they can really rely on. Even Joseph Woll, he's good. He got injured. You need a goalie that is very calm in the net, like Joseph Woll, right? But consistent as well. You know exactly what you're going to get. Even if it's not elite, at least you know exactly what you're going to get. Elite would be great too, though. But they have to figure out a few things here. And I think moving on, and I think salary right now, salary cap space in the NHL is more valuable than any draft pick or any player. I think if you can utilize your cap space properly to build a winning team, then obviously you're going to find a winner. But it's about utilizing your cap space to make the best team possible. And the Leafs, I don't think they're utilizing their space correctly.
Yeah, and I mean, their space right now is being used up by 4 forwards who are unable to produce in the playoffs, leading to colossal disappointment every single year. And if they want to continue to do that, I don't know how much longer fans will be happy with. I mean, they haven't been since 2021 when they lost to the Canadiens. They've been chance of blowing it up. There's probably been chance of blowing it up after their first loss in their first year at the core four. But yeah, let us know what your thoughts are on that. That'll wrap it up. Hopefully we'll get some sort of resolution soon, which is on that meeting Friday. Thank you guys for watching. See you soon.